What Ryan Reynolds, has seemingly done, right, is used his power and influence to not only help Blake Lively take over this movie.
Hollywood's most celebrated friendship might be hiding something deeper beneath the surface. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, two of cinema's biggest stars, have spent years entertaining fans with their playful banter and social media wars. But what if this highly publicized bromance was actually masking something more intimate?
Ryan?
Yep.
You want to take a break?
Blake? Sure.
For years, audiences have laughed along as Reynolds and Jackman exchanged witty jabs on talk shows and red carpets, their chemistry undeniable and electric. Yet observers have started to notice something peculiar: the lingering glances, the deeply personal compliments, the way Reynolds compares their relationship to a marriage. "I am genuinely rooting for you all the time," Reynolds once told Jackman during an interview, words that sound eerily similar to wedding vows.
No.
It's not every day a guy gets to interview the love interest of his best friend's wife, and the guy trying to replace Ryan as a husband and me as his best mate.
Holy shit.
Industry insiders claim that behind closed doors, these A-listers refer to each other as life partners, a term that goes far beyond casual friendship. Their public displays of affection, while wrapped in humor, have become increasingly difficult to dismiss as mere publicity stunts. What began as marketing for their X-Men universe crossovers has evolved into something that has many wondering. Is this truly just Hollywood's greatest bromance? Or have we been witnessing something far more personal playing out in plain sight? All along, when Hugh Jackman announced his separation from wife Deborah Lee Furness in September 2023, Hollywood insiders immediately noticed the timing was far from coincidental. After 27 years of marriage, a lifetime by industry standards, why now? The bombshell dropped precisely when filming for Deadpool and Wolverine had paused during the SAG strike, creating a perfectly orchestrated media diversion. The divorce announcement came after decades of whispered speculation about Jackman's sexuality, rumors that had followed him like a shadow throughout his illustrious career. At 28, Jackman had married Furness, then 41, leading some industry veterans to question whether the relationship was a carefully constructed facade. He was using her as a beard, claimed one source close to the production, using the Hollywood term for marriages arranged to conceal one's true orientation. The calculated nature of the divorce announcement, low-key yet impossible to ignore, bore all the hallmarks of crisis management PR. By controlling when and how this personal news reached the public, Jackman's team effectively redirected attention away from the swirling rumors while simultaneously freeing him from a marriage that had served its purpose in crafting his public image. As cameras prepared to roll again on what would become one of Marvel's biggest hits, Jackman emerged newly single. The timing so perfect, it could only have been by design. Is Blake Lively living a lie? While the world sees America's golden couple, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, as relationship goals insiders are questioning whether their picture-perfect family is nothing but an elaborate Hollywood illusion. Blake Lively is a beard, whispers one source who worked closely with the couple, using the industry term for someone who unwittingly serves as cover for their partner's hidden sexual identity. The evidence? Reynolds consistently displays more emotional openness and affection toward Hugh Jackman than toward his own wife. During interviews, Reynolds gushes about Jackman with a passion and intensity that's noticeably absent when discussing Lively. Why does he speak about his bromance with more enthusiasm than his marriage? Questioned one veteran entertainment reporter who's interviewed the couple multiple times. More damning still are Reynolds' public comments about Lively, which often take the form of jokes that border on dismissive, while his praise for Jackman sounds genuinely heartfelt. I think the secret sauce to a long-lasting Hollywood friendship is not too dissimilar to having a partner or a marriage, Reynolds once said about Jackman, a statement that raised eyebrows across the industry. With 4 children and a carefully curated social media presence showcasing their perfect family, the Lively-Reynolds partnership has all the hallmarks of a relationship built for public consumption rather than genuine connection. As one source put it, she's there to produce kids and give him that family image, a role that's as old as Hollywood itself. The lawsuit that's threatening to tear Hollywood's elite inner circle apart has Reynolds at its explosive center. What began as a seemingly straightforward legal dispute between Justin Baldoni and the production of It Ends With Us has morphed into a career-destroying scandal with Reynolds allegedly pulling strings from the shadows. Reynolds used his considerable Hollywood influence to blackball call Baldoni, revealed an insider close to the production. One phone call from Ryan, and suddenly doors were closing for Justin all over town. The lawsuit documents allegedly contain damning evidence that Reynolds, threatened by Baldoni's connection with Blake Lively during filming, orchestrated a systematic campaign to destroy the actor's reputation and career prospects. It wasn't just professional jealousy, it was something deeper, something more personal, suggested a source who worked on set. Witnesses claim Reynolds' behavior became increasingly erratic as he perceived Baldoni as a threat not just professionally, but to his carefully constructed public persona. The legal filings reportedly include text messages, emails, and witness testimonies describing how Reynolds leveraged his A-list status to turn the industry against Baldoni. He was making calls to studio heads, planting negative stories, and the press even trying to get Baldoni removed from his own project, claimed one production assistant who requested anonymity. As the case moves toward deposition, Hollywood is bracing for revelations that could permanently shatter Reynolds' nice guy image and expose the ruthless power plays that still dominate the industry's upper echelons. The nervous laughter hangs in the air every time Ryan Reynolds makes another joke about his relationship with Hugh Jackman. But psychology experts and body language analysts are now questioning what's really behind this obsessive need to normalize his overly affectionate behavior toward another man. He's always playing this role of making a lot of gay jokes and trying to normalize all of this, noted one industry observer who's tracked Reynolds' career for decades. But nobody's actually asking him to do that. Not fans, not the gay community. This compulsive pattern of joke-telling has become increasingly transparent to media trainers and PR specialists who recognize classic deflection techniques when they see them. At 48 years old with 4 children, Reynolds dedicates a surprising amount of time and media opportunities to emphasizing how normal his intense friendship with Jackman is, a defensive posture that's raising more questions than it answers. Former colleagues point to Reynolds' inexplicable anger when the topic of his relationship with Jackman comes up in uncontrolled settings. During one unguarded moment caught on a hot mic, Reynolds' demeanor shifted dramatically when a crew member made an innocent comment about the pair's chemistry. "Why is he so angry?" wondered one witness to the incident. "There's this underlying anger that doesn't make sense if there's nothing to hide." Psychologists familiar with repression patterns suggest this behavior. The constant joking followed by flashes of rage represents classic signs of internal conflict. As one expert put it, when someone keeps bringing up a topic unprompted, especially through humor, it often indicates they're processing something they're not yet comfortable discussing directly. Long before Wolverine's claws made him a household name, Hugh Jackman's Tony Award-winning performance in The Boy from Oz in 2003 offered a glimpse behind the carefully maintained facade. Playing openly gay singer-songwriter Peter Allen, Jackman made a creative decision that still has Broadway insiders talking 2 decades later. He added passionate kisses with male co-stars that weren't in the original script. The original screenplay had no kisses between the stars, revealed a veteran Broadway producer who worked on the production. Hugh insisted on adding them. He said it made the character more authentic. What makes this artistic choice particularly intriguing is how Jackman threw himself into these scenes with an intensity and commitment that surprised even his closest collaborators. Night after night, as audiences watched in awe, Jackman didn't just portray Allen. He embodied him with a freedom and liberation that many described as transformative. There was something unleashed in him during that run, shared a cast member who performed alongside Jackman. It was like watching someone finally express something they'd kept bottled up. Theater critics noted the striking contrast between Jackman's reserved public persona and his uninhibited stage presence. "He comes alive differently in this role," wrote one prominent reviewer at the time. "There's an authenticity to these intimate moments that transcends mere acting." When questioned about these creative decisions in subsequent interviews, Jackman deflected with his trademark charm, attributing his choices to artistic integrity rather than personal expression. Yet those who worked closely with him during this career-defining performance remain convinced they witnessed something profoundly revealing, a man perhaps most authentic when playing someone free to be their true self. Beneath the charming, exterior and self-deprecating humor lies a side of Ryan Reynolds that few are willing to discuss openly, his reported narcissistic streak that borders on controlling. Former colleagues describe a man obsessed with his public image, willing to manipulate narratives and sacrifice others to maintain his carefully curated persona. His need for control extends beyond just his career. It permeates everything around him, revealed a a source who worked closely with Reynolds on multiple projects. This dark underbelly became increasingly apparent during the It Ends With Us controversy, where Reynolds allegedly directed a promotional skit that had nothing to do with the film's serious domestic violence themes. Instead, the skit reportedly served as a vehicle for Reynolds to center himself, bringing in his mother and relegating Blake Lively to the background. It wasn't about promoting the film anymore. It was about controlling the narrative, explained an insider familiar with the production. Most disturbing are the allegations that Reynolds displays what one professional described as sociopathic tendencies when his carefully constructed world is threatened. There's a coldness that emerges when he feels challenged, claimed someone who witnessed Reynolds' behavior firsthand. The extreme disconnect between his public persona, the lovable, self-deprecating everyman, and his private behavior has created a cognitive dissonance among those who've worked with him. The Ryan Reynolds the public loves is a masterfully crafted character, said one longtime industry veteran. The real Ryan is someone who views relationships as transactions and people as either assets or obstacles. As more industry professionals find the courage to speak up, the portrait emerging is of a man whose charm masks a deeply narcissistic personality driven by insecurity and an insatiable need for control. The atmosphere on the set of It Ends With Us turned increasingly toxic as Reynolds' behavior reportedly spiraled beyond professional boundaries. Multiple crew members have come forward with disturbing accounts of what one described as bullying behavior directed at Justin Baldoni. Ryan was displaying sociopathic tendencies early on, claimed a production assistant who observed the interactions firsthand. It went far beyond normal creative differences. According to sources close to the production, Reynolds' inappropriate conduct manifested in subtle sabotage of Baldoni's directorial vision, undermining his authority with cast and crew through whispered comments and strategic eye rolls during Baldoni's directions. He would say things like, "That's an interesting choice," with this tone that immediately made everyone question Justin's competence, revealed a crew member who witnessed these interactions. The situation allegedly intensified when Reynolds perceived a connection developing between Baldoni and Blake Lively during filming of their emotional scenes. What began as professional jealousy apparently evolved into something more personal and vindictive. Most concerning were reports of Reynolds using his producer status to make arbitrary changes to the shooting schedule, deliberately creating complications for scenes where he wasn't present. He would approve schedule changes that forced Justin to rush through important emotional beats, then criticize the results afterward, claimed someone familiar with the production timeline. As legal proceedings advance, these allegations will likely face intense scrutiny, potentially exposing not just a celebrity feud, but a pattern of behavior that industry veterans recognize as all too common among powerful figures who feel threatened, a toxic combination of insecurity and authority wielded as a weapon. The breaking point came during a 60 Minutes Australia interview that was supposed to celebrate Hugh Jackman's illustrious career, but instead forced the star and his then-wife Deborah Lee Furness to address the elephant that had been following them for decades. With cameras rolling and millions watching, the tension was palpable as the interviewer delicately broached the persistent rumors about Jackman's sexuality. "It has gotten so out of whack that it's stupid and annoying because it's not true," Furness snapped, her frustration visibly boiling over after years of whispers. The couple had endured decades of speculation, but something about this particular interview felt different, a last stand before the facade began to crumble. Body language experts who analyzed the footage noted Jackman's subtle physical responses, the tightening around his eyes, the almost imperceptible shift in his posture, the momentary hesitation before certain answers. His verbal and nonverbal cues were misaligned in key moments, observed one expert who studies deception patterns in high-profile interviews. What made this televised confrontation particularly revealing wasn't just what was said, but the emotional undercurrent that seemed to suggest a rehearsed response rather than an authentic reaction. Furness dominated the conversation on this topic, her defensiveness interpreted by many as overcompensation. "It's like it's a lie," she insisted with unusual intensity. If he was gay, fine, he would say he's gay. Industry insiders familiar with the couple noted this interview marked a turning point in how they publicly addressed these persistent rumors, moving from quiet dismissal to forceful denial. Just months before their separation announcement, this televised moment now appears in retrospect as the beginning of the end. A final public performance before the 27-year marriage reached its conclusion. The whirlwind of allegations surrounding Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman relies heavily on connecting dots that might exist only in the imagination of internet sleuths and tabloid journalists. From selective editing of interview clips to over-analysis of casual interactions, the evidence supporting these explosive claims remains largely circumstantial at best and fabricated at worst. "People see what they want to see," explained a veteran celebrity publicist who's navigated similar rumors for other A-listers. Two male friends show affection, and suddenly the internet creates an entire alternate reality. The dangerous game of speculation has real consequences for the individuals involved. Not just Reynolds and Jackman, but also Blake Lively and Jackman's ex-wife, who find their personal lives dissected for public entertainment. Media psychology researchers point to a troubling pattern in how these narratives spread. A kernel of observable behavior gets amplified through social media, algorithms that reward increasingly outrageous interpretations. Each retelling adds new details until fiction becomes indistinguishable from fact. This is literally how conspiracy theories are born, noted one researcher who studies misinformation spread. Someone notices two men seem close, and 20 internet iterations later, there's the elaborate conspiracy involving fake marriages and Hollywood cover-ups. What's particularly insidious is how these speculations are presented as established fact rather than what they truly are: entertainment content designed to generate clicks and views. The lines between observation, inference, and pure fiction blur as creators compete for attention in an increasingly crowded digital landscape. The absence of journalistic standards in these viral videos means accountability falls by the wayside, while real people, celebrities though they may be, find their lives reduced to soap opera plotlines for public consumption, with truth becoming the first casualty in the battle for engagement.